let's get
sir.
into some news before we talk about other stuff. So let's break down some news here. T.J. Hockenson, personal apology from yours truly. I'm not wearing the jersey I purchased that has your name on it, but it is in my bedroom as we speak. He said he has an ear infection, and I saw somebody put on X. I just have to stick to the app formerly known as Twitter, but I saw somebody put on social media, like nobody has issued a retraction on saying he's holding out. Nobody has apologized for saying he's holding out. And I am here to say, as someone who has, a journalistic code that he follows, I still don't think he's not holding out. He wants more money, and I'm going full heel, full the bad guy, Ric Flair. What was his? I'm not going to sit here and talk about professional wrestling, but I still am not convinced that his ear infection is not, man, I can't hear you. I think I need a little bit more money to be stacked onto my contract extension so that way I can pay for better hearing aids so I can hear you better and my ear doesn't hurt so bad. Look, maybe he does have an ear infection, and again, the same stuff applies. If he's sick, he'll be back, he plays. I don't think that he's missing week 1. I just don't. I think that he is going to be a full active member of the roster in Tampa, or at Tampa. It's the first game's at home, right? Yeah, against Tampa Bay. However, I don't think that there is. Look, he has an ear infection, but he's doing individual drills, but he's not doing team stuff. It just seems like a hold in.
Yeah.
It has all the making. If it looks like a hold in, and it smells like a hold in, and it sounds like a hold in, it's an ear infection. 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 5. I mean, and I don't think I'm really putting the tinfoil hat on here and trying to read tea leaves and look into a crystal ball. I think people are just calling it like it is, and that is that T.J. Hockenson has this mystery illness. No one can tell you what it is. You see him doing stuff, like he's doing individual stuff, but he's not doing like full team drills and stuff. And you just can't tell me that if he had a fully guaranteed, or not fully guaranteed, but if he had a lengthy contract extension stacked on top of his 5th-year option, or in lieu of his 5th-year option, that all of a sudden that earache doesn't really keep him out and doesn't affect his balance so much. I am still very much a conspiracy theorist that T.J. Hockenson is doing kind of a very, very low-level hold-in. But also, what is the hold-up with this deal? I don't understand it. And I'm starting to think maybe it's like, is the deal going to replace his 5th-year option and add money to this season, or is the deal going to be a true extension past the 5th-year option? And maybe that's where the hang up is. I have no inside information. I'm not in those rooms. I would pay a lot of money to be a fly on the wall in those rooms. I'm not inside of those rooms. I'm speculating, but something is holding this deal up, and I want them to not hold this deal up. The Jefferson one I want to get done, but like, okay, we can, he's still got a 5th-year option to play on. He's still got 2 franchise tags. Hockenson, on the flip side, is gone after this season. So, again, we're recording this on Monday. I hope this is all null and void and this video never even sees... This will be in the podcast, but I hope this never even sees YouTube, because I hope we extend him in 15 minutes and we have to go back and just make a new video or something. But... we will.
He's miraculously healed by tomorrow.
Yes. Do you have what do you take on it? What's your take?
It's so hard. It's so hard to know with these things, right? Because you want to take guys at their word. And I mean, have you had an ear infection? I can't remember having one. Maybe as a kid.
Yeah. I had tubes put in my ears like 52 times as a kid. Ugh. I used to have to swim with earplugs in, and I would never do it. And then I'd get an ear infection again. I've had so many ear infections, and they're debilitating. But at the same time, I wasn't being paid a lot of money to like do a job. I've had an ear infection and been like, my ear hurts. I guess I'll go to work and do my job. Like, I'm not gonna miss out on a paycheck because my ear hurts. Like, so that's what I don't. And it's the fact that O'Connell didn't say, yeah, he's got an ear infection last week. It's the fact that O'Connell said he's dealing with some mystery sickness, and now we've landed on ear infection. You didn't know it was an ear infection. You didn't say, hey, his ear hurts and he has an ear infection on Tuesday of last week. You waited until Monday. I just there's too many things that point. I've already given this take. I won't do it
Yeah,
again.
I don't know. The only thing that I really would like to sort of like stay on the side of I think he's sick is that he said he was sick, and so I want to take him at his word. But with all these things, like there's always a game to be played, and I don't mean that literally. I mean that figuratively. And the one thing I would say on his behalf is that like yes, he's being paid millions of dollars, so he should just get out there. But also, it's training camp. We're not suiting up tomorrow. There's still 4 weeks until the season kicks off,
Agreed.
and do you really need him to be suited up for training camp? Do I think he'll be suited up Wednesday, Thursday of this week? Yes. When Tennessee comes to town, you want him to be with the team doing that, especially considering that he didn't get training camp with Minnesota last year. He was in Detroit starring on Hard Knocks. So the other thing that I just wanted to point out in relation to this is not a report. This is a hunch from Darren Wolfson of KSTP or ABC in the local Twin Cities area. He's pretty plugged in, Vikings reporter and other just local reporter for Minnesota sports. And his thought is that there's a more immediate goal for the Vikings to extend Hockenson than there would be to sign someone like Kareem Hunt, who they brought in for a visit the other day to potentially be a backup running back, or Dalton Reisner, the offensive guard who visited the Vikings the week before, or I don't even know who. Oh, Darby, the cornerback.
Yeah,
Ronald Darby from Denver. So those three guys, he was thinking maybe that's back burner compared to Hockenson. So in his mind, that's sort of adding more fuel to Jordan's fire here. That maybe this is a little bit of a hold in, and they just decided a couple days ago that it should be an ear infection. So
yeah, and I need to know because I'm just going to be honest and I have to mention this because we're breaking this up into YouTube videos to post throughout the week. So I have to I've got these giant things on my hands. I'm really high on Hockenson in fantasy this year. I've been doing mock drafts. I'm taking him in every mock draft that I'm doing because I'm so high on him and what he's going to do in this offense. But now I don't know if he just can't play with an ear infection or if he's not going to play without a contract. But like you said, it's the second preseason game. There's no shot he's lacing it up against the Titans on Saturday night. And it's a hunch. It's what I want to believe about TJ Hockenson. I don't know him personally, but if I was this, and I'm going to say this, and any shot of us ever getting TJ Hockenson on this show goes out the window right now. Okay? But if I was this big, ugly dude from Iowa, and I would play football week 1. That's just it. If I was from Iowa and I looked like TJ Hockenson, I would be playing football week 1. It just seems like him. It just seems like the kind of guy he is that he plays football week 1.
TJ, if you're out there, I do not think you're ugly. I think you are a very attractive man. Not weird. I think
maybe that should become this show's niche. Is instead of like talking about like analysis and who we think is going to make rosters and who's going to win games and why, and everybody's doing that. Next week on Load the Box, 1 to 53, a 53-man roster projection, but given to you in order of attractivenes. Spoiler alert: Kirk Cousins higher than you think he would be. Higher in a good way. Like probably top 3, I would say.
Yeah, he's up there.
Good cheekbones. I thought this was a really good take last year, and I don't think it got the recognition it deserved. Kirk Cousins could play Batman in like a Christopher Nolan movie. Like he is shredded. He could play Bane. Like he could. I mean, he is shredded, dude. It's ridiculous. But I did like the little sprinkle of news you threw in there with Ronald Darby and Kareem Hunt. Who was the other guy?
Reisner. He's old news, though.
Dalton Reisner.
Yeah.
I do like that little sprinkle. The Kareem Hunt saga is an interesting one. If you don't follow the NFL, like, world in general, he went to the Saints, and then the Colts called him and said, no, come here, we're going to sign you. And then he went to the Saints, he went to the Colts, and the Colts didn't sign him, which was like, isn't that the whole reason you didn't sign with? And now he's visiting the Vikings. So who knows what's
Yeah.
going on there. But Kareem Hunt is, I guess, on the table for the Vikings, which is, I think that would be an interesting addition, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get too in depth in it because I personally don't think it would happen. I think they would sign Wise now before they went after Kareem
I
Hunt.
would I would hope so. I mean, the thing that I feel like we totally missed in the whole discussion about the preseason game is Ty Chandler. I thought he looked really good.
Yeah.
Um, like I thought he looked like an NFL running back. Not that I want him starting week 1, but he's not someone that I am crossing my fingers when if he gets a few handoffs or catches,
I want him
from
to.
the regular season.
I think they're going to go with like a running back committee more than they are just Dalvin Cook every snap of the game, like they
Yeah,
did last year. And I am very comfortable with Ty Chandler
absolutely.
being what Jerick McKinnon used to be,
Mm.
in that he's coming in on third downs, he's catching screens. I'm not saying he's strictly a pass catching back. I do think he could run the ball a little bit, but I do like the idea of dumping it off to him on 3rd and 6 and watching him shake a guy and get the first down.
Yeah,
I think that he impressed me a lot in that preseason game for sure.
his yards after catch and his play in the pass game was really impressive.
Yeah.
He was good on the ground, but his receiving was probably the thing that stood out to me the most. So
Yeah.
I really like him. I mean, the Hunt comes with some potential baggage too. Back in 2018, the whole issue with not going to get into it, but the physical altercation and the I believe kicking or pushing of a young woman.
Yeah.
You don't love to see that. So no idea where he's at personally, but that's just a concern. I mean, off the
I
field
will
stuff
say,
is important,
he's
so.
been in Cleveland the last couple of years, and we did used to have a sister show, Load the Box Browns, which rest in peace, Load the Box Browns. It was good while it lasted, but he never. I mean, he was just a stand-up guy while he was with the Browns. I do think that was
It's
kind
good
of
to
an
hear.
isolated incident. Yeah, no, it is. It
Yeah.
is good to hear. I feel like you see a lot of stories where athletes make a mistake and they say, "Oh, I'll never do it again," and then they do it again and again and again,
Yeah.
and end up tanking their career. So Kareem Hunt's going to go somewhere, and he's going to get a nice chunk of change and
Yeah.
a good amount of carries. I just don't know that it's going to be in Minnesota. Speaking of running backs, though, another piece of Vikings-related news. As of Monday night, Dalvin Cook officially a member of the Jets. That was the weirdest. I don't know. I don't remember. Like, Dalvin Cook went to the Jets. He visited with them. And then he just started going to training camp. Even like, could you imagine you go interview for a job and you just show up in the office the next day and you're like, "Hey guys, they haven't made me an offer yet. I just want to get the vibe. I just want to hang out." Like, what?
I want to be
What
on
that?
Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I want to be on Hard Knocks. I think that's what it was. So, I know he had his own, has his own legal troubles involving a woman going on. There was a lot of he said, she said. We won't get into it here, but looks like the Jets either know something about what's going on with that legal case that Dalvin Cook is involved in. They're just willing to overlook it and say it's not going to affect the 2023 season. Let's give them a 1-year deal. The Jets are really putting their chips all in on the table, and it's ballsy. I respect it. 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, 29-year-old Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall coming off of an ACL, Garrett Wilson, who's kind of a smaller framed receiver, if he can stay healthy, they're going for it. And they are in a loaded conference. I still predict that they bounce in the wild card round. They lose in a away playoff game. They're going to lose to the Bengals in the wild card round, and it's going to be glorious. And next season, Aaron Rodgers lacing up in Vikings purple and gold and taking us all the way. I hope. The
Man, that
prophecy,
would be. That
it
would be
has to
silly.
happen. The prophecy
It,
has to fulfill himself. And I don't want to get sued, so allegedly, but then, he'll go and allegedly, steal a bunch of money from welfare
Oh gosh.
recipients or something. If he's really going to follow in the path of his predecessor, allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah, no, I mean, do you have any other news that you want to dive into, or do you want to start talking about Tennessee?
Not much to add on Dalvin. I think the deal was like up to 8.6 million total, and the up to I think is important. It's not all guaranteed. I didn't look at the contract details. I don't even know if they're out yet, to be honest. But So probably less than he was looking for, which is maybe partly why it took so long.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I was making a face when you were saying this because it was 2-3 weeks ago when he was hanging out at Jets training camp. So it's kind of about time. I think Ian Rappaport said it's the worst kept secret is finally out. So he's going to play with Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be a weird sight to behold. I think they were excited about the possibility of playing together. So who knows? I'm not a huge believer in the Jets. This is not a Jets show, so I'm not going to get into it. But like you said, I could see this sort of crashing and burning a little bit for them. But I hope Dalvin nothing but the best. I mean, he was a fun back to watch, and he was a good locker room guy. He was a captain for at least 2 or 3 years, and so a lot of good Dalvin Cook memories for sure.
For sure.
And it's hopefully a good next chapter for him, and he can take a step in that direction. So